There's a new trend going on in the NFL right now that I don't think enough people are talking about. We see Joe Burrow, Tua, and Jalen Hurts that are all NFL starting quarterbacks looking to find their way in the league. Some more established already than others, and some looking to prove themselves as they're closing in on those years where their teams have to decide if they're going to move on or if they're their guy for the future. But all of these guys have one thing in common. They are all throwing to former college teammates. Joe has Jamar Chase, Tua has Jalen Waddle, and Hurts has Devanta Smith. Is there anything to this? Well, I think so. And I think this new trend is going to become a lot more common for NFL teams with young quarterbacks, especially with the success it's proven to show already. But it's not just as simple as this. There's actually a lot to think about when it comes to this topic, so let's not waste any more time and get right into it. And I always like to address the first thing I think someone who maybe won't watch the whole video might rush to the comments to say. I think someone might say that Jamar Chase was the Blitnikoff winner, Devanta Smith was a Heisman Trophy winner, and Jalen Waddle was a first-round draft prospect. So shouldn't they have been taken where they were at in the top 15 picks? And that's fair. But do we think the Bengals actually take a wide receiver at 5 if it wasn't Chase? Or the Dolphins and Eagles take a receiver instead of another position? Or maybe even another receiver in the draft? I'm not sure, but I think there's a good reason why they went receiver here at all 3 spots in the 2021 draft. Let's talk about why. The trend that is much more known and talked about is that teams are building up heavy around a young quarterback that's on their rookie deal. When a quarterback isn't taking $45 million a year off your salary cap, you can spend big on a lot of other positions. But this strategy is double-edged. It typically takes a young quarterback a couple of years to get their play to championship level caliber. So when they finally figure it out, it's time for them to get paid, and their team isn't as stacked as it once was. It's a story as old as time. And why this is because it takes them a few years to get used to the NFL game, the pace and the concepts and every intricate detail of running an offense and understanding defenses. It also takes a few years to get comfortable with your wide receivers and tight ends. The Brady Gronk connection or the Peyton Manning Reggie Wayne connection doesn't happen overnight. It's thousands of reps and hours on the field together. So what if you could speed up at least one of these processes? What if you could give your young quarterback a target that he already has 1, 2, maybe 3 years of experience with? This is a shortcut to having instant on-field connection and a built-in safety blanket for a young quarterback while you load up the team. We see this all the time as coaches get hired as a coordinator positions with head coaches that they've had prior experience with. This helps the front office and coaches skip years of learning what each other are like, how to run things, or what to expect. So when we look at a guy like Jalen Waddle, who played 2 full seasons with Tua as his quarterback in college, we don't think that means anything. Even with a bad offensive line last year, Jalen Waddle broke the single season receptions record with 104 catches. He broke the long-standing record previously held by Hall of Fame nominee Anquan Boldin all the way back in 2003. And even though the line play limited the Dolphins to a lot of short, get the ball out quick passes, you don't think Tua was most comfortable having a familiar face and a built-in safety blanket? Or what about Jamar Chase? On a per-game basis, Burrow's completion percentage went up, his yards went up, touchdowns went up, interceptions went down, and he went from being one of the lowest percentage threat for big-time plays all the way to being one of the most explosive big-play offenses in the league. And on this Bengals offense, not much outside of Jamar Chase changed for Burrow from year 1 to year 2. But not only is Chase already an incredibly talented and cemented himself as a star in today's league, but they know each other. They trust each other, and it looked like they'd been playing for years together, even though it was Jamar Chase's rookie year. And that's because they have. Let's look at 2 plays really quickly that I think illustrates this point perfectly. And we're going to go over these plays incredibly quickly, but these 2 plays are just supposed to illustrate how well of a connection this young quarterback and rookie receiver have that just isn't common, but it's possible because they played in college together. And we're going to be watching Jamar Chase right here against the Steelers, one-on-one at the top of your screen. And what we're really going to look for on this play is when Joe Burrow decides to throw it. We're going to watch when his hands separate, and it happens right here. His hands separate right now. If we take our eyes to the top of the screen where Jamar Chase is, the cornerback is in such a great position. Not only is he in phase, but he's a good 3 yards ahead of him still. But that doesn't matter because Joe Burrow knows Jamar Chase. He knows what he's capable of. He has that relationship with him. He's able to put it over the top and have confidence that he's going to be able to go and get it, whereas otherwise this probably would be an interception. And then we have an example of them being the exact same page during a scramble drill. Again, we have Ja'Marr Chase at the top of our screen. And this play kind of goes south immediately as the pressure comes in. This is a huge play. This is 4th down. Joe Burrow starts to break the pocket, and we see Ja'Marr Chase in the back right corner of the end zone. And we're going to see when Joe Burrow separates again to goes to throw it. And he separates right now. And here we have Ja'Marr Chase in the back of the end zone, and he is currently running. I know it's small, but he's currently running this way. But what Joe Burrow is going to do is he's going to throw it right here. But he knows Ja'Marr Chase is running this way, but they have the connection. He knows the DB is looking at Ja'Marr Chase and not Joe Burrow. Ja'Marr Chase is going to see this, circle back, and get the huge touchdown on a 4th down. And these are the plays they're able to make with a rookie wide receiver that you just don't see anywhere else in the NFL. And moving on to our third example, Jalen Hurts and Devanta Smith also played a little bit together in college. Not as many in-game reps with each other, but still 2 years at the facilities together. And it was clear that Devanta Smith was the most talented receiver on this roster, but he still had nearly 300 more yards than the next wide receiver on the team. Jalen Hurts in this run-heavy offense, more similar to the Ravens, in that the importance of the team is the offensive line, tight ends, running backs, and the running ability of the quarterback. It is so important on a team like this to have a good connection with your wide receivers because even though there might be less throwing opportunities, you better connect on them when the run game sets up a great passing play. And so often when Hurts was able to extend the plays, him and Smith seemed to connect almost every time because they shared a really great connection on where to be at the exact perfect time. And this concept isn't new by any means. Another example is Andrew Luck got drafted by the Colts in 2012 in the 1st round, and the Colts used their 2nd round pick and drafted his teammate from Stanford, tight end Coby Fleener. But now, what do we do with this information? Can we begin to predict some other possible scenarios? Will we see teams start to implement this strategy as it continues to pay off in big ways and propel the teams in this golden championship window to have a quarterback on a rookie deal be even more effective? Well, let's try and think of an example. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a quarterback battle going on right now, Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett. And whatever happens this season, it feels as if the Steelers think they have their guy of the future in Kenny Pickett, and he will be giving the reins either sometime this year or at the latest next year. And this makes the Steelers fit this golden window. They'll be able to pay their guys like TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and they also have their young and cheap talent like George Pickens, Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth, and they could be in need of drafting an offensive lineman next year, maybe some depth at corner and safety. But what if in the draft they have the chance to move up and take Jordan Addison? Jordan Addison was another Biletnikoff winner as the best receiver in college football, and even though he plays at USC now, he won this award in a Pitt uniform when Pickett was throwing him the ball. This could immediately make the Steelers one of the scariest offensive teams in the league because of who Jordan Addison is as a player, but also his ability to have an immediate connection with his quarterback. And another quick example, there's a few teams that might be in the running to have the number 1 overall draft pick next year. The Texans are one of those teams. And this is solely hypothetical because there's not a ton of examples where this makes a lot of sense right now. And I'm also very high on Davis Mills, but let's say he leads them to the 1st overall pick. He has a down year or he can't stay healthy. Does the Texans having John Mechie, if he's able to play next season, impact who they would take number 1 overall, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? If it's really a coin toss for them on who they think is better, does Bryce Young having chemistry with their new young stud receiver move the needle as a positive? I think it might. But I think this trend needs to be talked about a lot more and considered more in the future when we looked at the draft process and teams looking to be a contender. And I want to hear from you guys what other ways you could see this trend being implemented, or if you think this trend is warranted and has some validity to it. And the one thing we may never know is why the Jets didn't do this trend in the draft last year and draft Zach Wilson's former teammate and best friend Dax. I guess we'll never know. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure to like this video if you like videos like these. Make sure to comment down below what you think. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoy daily sports content. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel and watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. But that's all I have for you today. But as always, I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.